Okay.
You ready?
No, sorry.
Hi, welcome back. We're the Book Mavens. I'm Rachel. This is Amanda. Today's episode, we're going to be ranking our favorite and least favorite things, books, to the individual trilogies and quartet of the Realm of the Elderlings series by Robin Hobb. So if you've been following along with us, you know that we have completed all 16 books. So this is us kind of having a reflective moment and looking back at all of our favorite and least favorite parts of this journey that we had all summer. So can't wait to hear what your favorite and least favorite things were in the comments. So don't forget to leave us a message, and we certainly can't wait to read what you have to say about your choices.
Okay, so we're going to start with, we have not revealed these to each other.
No,
and
this
we've
is
not
a
talked to each
surprise.
other about them, so they can be a surprise. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by ranking least favorite to most favorite, the individual trilogies plus the quad. So we're going to look at each of the sets of books and rank them lowest. So we're going to start with our number 5 pick. Our least favorite, let's just be clear from the gate. We love the ride.
Yes, no, they're all worth reading.
Right. But we definitely have opinions about the one we enjoyed the least.
Oh,
Yeah.
That was a done
No
deal.
surprise there.
Rain
okay,
Wild,
the
for
Rain
sure.
Wild Chronicles being our individual least favorites. I think I think if you watched any of our videos, you kind of saw that coming.
For sure.
We
It's the
struggled.
middle ones we think we're going to have some differing opinions about. So why did you put this one on the bottom of your list?
I just didn't love it. It didn't have we talked about this too in our videos, so we'll reference you back to our videos, because we actually did these 4 books in 2 videos. Because they're very quick reads, but they just didn't have that connecting thread for me. That's the part that kept me engaged in the others, and it just wasn't there. And because it wasn't there, I just wasn't as interested, because there wasn't like the political intrigue thread. Like, it was really just a lot of angstiness.
Mm-hmm.
Why'd
No,
you
I
put,
agree.
I was gonna say, is that why you put yours
Yeah,
on the bottom?
I mean, it just didn't connect to those characters that I really loved. It didn't connect enough to the live ship. You didn't have a continuing character, really, that went through everything. Because if you go from, okay, it just didn't have enough connection to either the Farseer or the live ship traders for me to really enjoy it. At least with the Farseer and live ship, you had the Fool as Amber and live ship. Like, there was a connection that connected those 2 series of books together. This one just felt it connected a little bit to live ship, but it wasn't enough for those people that we got to know and love, and the live ship traders. They weren't main centralized characters for the majority of those book series. So it just felt very disconnected for me. Except for the really cool dragons. It was fun learning about the dragons. But
even then, you were a little bit disappointed, as I recall, because the dragons it was not the same dragon experience you'd had.
As centralized.
Yeah.
I didn't like the character development in terms of them all being teenagers, and her being, Robin Hobb being very, she handled the adolescent experience very different in these books than she had with what she did in Live Ship and the Farseer trilogy, in terms of young children having a lot of responsibility and assuming adult roles and being treated as adults, where these young people really were in a place in which they absolutely could have started living as adults and weren't really allowed to do so. It was just super weird for me. Yeah.
Number
All right,
4.
Number 4.
1, 2, 3. You had a Tawny Man as 4? Okay, why?
Okay.
I'm shocked.
Well, but this gets into some of our other ranking things. But Tawny Man as a whole, I didn't love books 1 and 2.
Okay.
So for me, this was kind of a not a slow starter, but it was just a lot of kind of like running around that I I didn't love. And then, of course, we have our huge tragedy that happened in Tawny Man. And it's done beautifully. It's not to say there aren't storylines that I absolutely loved. But overall, for my experience, I felt that there were other overall trilogies that I enjoyed more. I know.
Hey. I mean, I feel like I tipped my hand on some of my ladies a little bit. I put the Farseer trilogy. Okay, and here's the only reason why.
Okay.
My main reason why this is number 4 for me is because I didn't, it's such a necessary trilogy. Like, for you to understand the level of backstory, the level of connection. But it is still very frustrating to read because it's especially prevalent in those books. The basic theme of this whole series is like, people are mad at Fitz because Fitz didn't do what they wanted. And it was so, I was just getting to know it. I was so frustrated by it all the time. And I thought Regal was the worst. Ha! All right, Robin Hobb, pull me on that one. But this one was the series, and I'm not going to lie, I was still a little bit like on the fence as we were going into live ship trilogies. Because it just didn't really, he just spent a lot of the books being abused, and it just hurt my heart.
There were some hard moments, and I didn't love the end of the Farseer trilogy.
Yeah.
It just felt rushed. But for me, the Farseer trilogy is what I'm most looking forward to rereading.
Oh.
Only because I think when you read a book for the first time, when it's really setting up like this very long, complex story, that you tend to kind of speed read through it. You just kind of want to get to where things are really happening. And there's so much early character development for Fitz that I kept recalling more than any of the books, events that happened in Farseer, reading all the other books. And so I really want to look back with this kind of more experienced eye for where the story's going, to go back and read all of that. And plus, Night Eyes.
Oh,
I'll go back and read
true.
it for Night Eyes, if nothing else.
Yeah.
And Katrikin. She my girl.
Yeah, I still think I'm going to put it at number 4. But I like your argument.
Book 3. You're like nervous.
I know, because I'm like, I'm pretty confident that you're going to disagree with me on this one.
We'll see.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Really?
Okay, why?
It just emptied me out so much at the end. And there were parts of this trilogy that I love. Like I said, remember, this is just our overall.
Yeah, look, we have to be holistic about the 3 or 4 books.
I mean, I love the first one in terms of getting to read Fitz and Molly together with B. That whole storyline was just so, like, the 2-year pregnancy, everything. I was really on the edge of my seat getting through that. But to me, some of these experiences they had were incredibly drawn out. And it was great for character development because I was so familiar with the characters that I didn't mind that so much. But overall, if I was going to look at that trilogy, I felt that there was a lot of extraneous, just really drawn out stuff. And I'm there for it. Remember, we love all of these. That's these series, so that's really, really tough.
We love all of them,
but a lot of it too was, yes, Nine Eyes is there, but I missed his like physical presence and Fitz's loneliness. For me, it was more about this just being a real emotionally draining trilogy. Like, I just was so devastated by so many things that happened in these books that to me, I would absolutely leave this for last. If I was going to go read them again, I wouldn't go back to read these first. Like I said, Farseer is where I'd really go back to reread. This was just really super. Yeah, it just sucked the life right out of me. I started rereading some of these. Oh yeah, we're on different sides.
I picked the live ships.
I'm surprised that's where it is.
Okay, I kind of struggled with my 2 and 3 slot, but I put live ship in 3 because I've been very open. Pirates are not really my thing. I don't really see the appeal, and I struggled with Kenneth the whole trilogy. I still struggle with Kenneth. And I'm not gonna lie, Amber, in some ways, has become my least favorite version of the Fool.
But that's because of these ones.
Of course.
You didn't,
I didn't know that's
you
true.
liked
I didn't know
Amber
that then.
in
I
Live Ship.
didn't know
This
Amber
is-
was the Fool for a
This
good
is shading this.
Yeah, I didn't know Amber was the Fool for a good chunk of Live Ship. If we go back
No,
to
I
the
had to
tape,
tell
guys,
her.
I had completely missed
Didn't
it.
know.
I
That
mean,
was so funny.
are any of us really shocked? I mean, like, you want me to quote a specific line? Sure. Big major plot point, completely missed it. Like, completely missed
That
it.
was
But
so funny, your face. That reveal was priceless.
That's true. I did love them. They were like a great. I think the third book really is what made me drop this one, because it was just like this like adventure book, and I was kind of here for it.
Mm-hmm.
But then like the third book, it just got so icky for me, and I didn't love it. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Farseer's number 2. Once again, Night Eyes, man. He's always going to win. He's always going to come out on top. Anything where he's revealed and watching their bond grow.
Like I said, I loved the Tawny Man so much.
Tawny Man was good, but it was so much of the ending of their time together. Like, so much of it focused on him being ready to go and less about them enjoying their time together.
I feel like that was really more in the last book, though. And when I looked at it holistically, the Tawny Man, I really had loved the first book of the Tawny Man, because it was just a self-encapsulated adventure tale. Like, I felt like we got conclusions. Like, I really loved the first book, and then you're right. And the other thing for me is, like,
first one.
I loved the first one.
I didn't.
But
love the first one.
for me, Tawny Man was
just chasing after Dutiful. I didn't really. Yeah, it wasn't for me.
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah.
I think I was so also emotionally wrecked still from the end of the Live Ship trailers. Traders?
Cool.
Live Ship traders. But anyway, so I put Tiny Man as number 2 because I did love the journey, and I loved the conclusion that we got. Don't think it. Don't.
Okay. Oh wow. Okay.
I loved the conclusion we got to some of the people, and it's when him and Molly come back together. And he gets,
but that's in like the epilogue.
It is, but he gets all this great closure, and he learns all these things about himself and Night Eyes, and like it is beautifully sad in some parts, but also it's just, I loved it.
I'm gonna trip you out with my favorite and least.
I'm not.
favorite
See,
books.
here's the thing. Let's next, ladies and gentlemen, stick around. All right, I'm not looking at yours. Don't calculate what my number 1 is.
Well, I know what it is now.
I did not math.
All right.
Number 1. I knew that was going to be yours. I knew it.
Did you?
I did.
Why? Why did you think this was my number 1?
Because you gushed about few of the trilogies the way you gushed about Live Ship. You love a strong female character.
I do.
And there were many. It was chock-a-block strong
Malta,
female characters in Live
Althea,
Ship.
Amber on some level.
Sure. Who knows?
Some level. Crazy Shep.
Who knows?
I'm all about that. But I mean, what really put this over and above, I mean, was Kenneth. I love him or hate him, I'm in the middle, all right? But the thing is that he was such a well-written, complex character.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you love
that
those.
just blew me away. The moral grayness and just his total just devolvement at the end. Incredible. What a ride. I could not.
That's how I knew you were going to
the writing in this, the overall trilogy, overall, the whole thing, all 3 books, there were so many things going on. I knew you were going to pick it.
I mean, that's the closest we had ever gotten to a fight was ever kidding.
Yeah, that is true.
Review the tape, folks. We had to agree to disagree and move on.
We did.
But, yeah. And I chose Fitz and the Fool because this is gonna sound a little bit petty. Let me just put on my petty pants for a minute.
Petty pants, I like that.
I really loved that Fitz finally pushed back at the Fool a little bit, and then eventually beat us too. But I really loved that there were these moments where they were snarky to each other, and like they really confronted the fact that they clearly, even as close as they were in their bond, they still didn't trust each other completely because they were not, like, their communication wasn't there. Like, and a lot of that is the result.
That went both ways.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's the both result of who they were and how, you know, how they came into this scenario. And, like, I just really loved the complexity of it. And I just loved the conclusion you get on so many good lines. Like, Katrikin and the resolution with Night Eyes and the, you know, I just really loved it. I thought it was really compelling. And apparently I am attracted to a tragic grief end, because a lot of I'm realizing now that a lot of these things were because, like, the, you know, they were beautifully written tragic moments. And I'm like, I didn't know about this. I'm learning a lot about myself. Okay.
Quite different. The only one we had was the same as the last one. Look at that.
Yeah, we're not even close. That's the thing. We're not even close on our...
That is so fascinating. Wow.
And that's why you tune in, folks.
That's it.
This diverse perspectives. You want to do favorite book, least favorite book?
All right, yeah.
I think least favorite book is going to be... I mean, pick a dragon book.
Pick a dragon book. You just want to talk about that? I mean, for me, it's a toss-up between... Yeah, like the first two. I mean, the at least 3 and 4, they're at Kilsingra, things are happening.
Yeah.
The first two, it was really just because there didn't need to be 2 books. They could have done one. That could have been a duology, honestly.
Yeah.
Pre-Kilsingra, post-Kilsingra, and that would have been enough. Now, from what I do understand is that was a decision made by her publishing house to make 4 books, where she was really, I think, intentionally, I think it would start off as just 1 book. And then she's like, okay, well, I'll do a duology. And then it ended up being a quad. So there were a lot of, I think, editorial decisions that were made because of that. And I disagree wholeheartedly with her publishers. I think it absolutely could have just been probably 2 books. 2 books would have been enough.
Yeah. I mean,
that was
the moral of the tale here, publishing houses, is like,
listen to your author.
Back up. Your author, especially when it's like Robin Hobbs, she got a plan in her head, and you need to just get on board. I mean, if she had not... how many books in was she at that point? Like, 9.
Yeah.
She was 9 books in at that point. I mean, I think she'd proven herself a little bit that you know. There you go.
She's talking about.
Okay, I'm going to need a second to decide.
I know.
On my favorite book. Do you know?
I do. I don't know what yours is. I don't know what mine is.
I know. Now I'm struggling. No, I'm trying to remember.
You all can't see. We have the books all
the books are laid out. Like, there's a ton of books out here.
She literally just had 4 in front of her. So is that...
No, I'm trying to remember. I'm not going to lie. Some of the early trilogies, I've blurred the lines between the books a little bit.
Yeah, fair. Fair.
I've spent a lot of this series really frustrated by people's behavior and treatment of pets. Okay.
I think you should leave this in. You're just sitting here.
No, guys, don't make my real
back
time
of the
book. Time decision making. Wait a minute. I'm ready. Are you ready? And you're going to have no idea because I have like 7 books.
I know. I don't know.
I hope I remember to pick
I didn't have to touch them. I already knew.
This is basically like kind of how I order food at restaurants too. I get it down to like 1 or 2 things, and then it's whatever comes out of my mouth first when the
All right. Are you going to reveal first? Because this is like...
No, I think you should, because you also could change my mind completely because you have a tendency to
What? You should already know. I should have made you write it down.
Okay, I mean, I can, but I hold my card to change my mind because Rachel often changes my mind. She just has such compelling arguments.
That's me.
And apparently she thinks about things way deeper than I do because she catches all these, like, you almost have these, like, premonitions about what's coming.
You like the dark, tragic stuff.
I didn't know that about myself.
I get too emotionally invested, so then I just feel really wiped out. Sometimes it's cathartic, sometimes it's not.
I think maybe that's it. I'm just finding it very cathartic in the midst of all of this. And you know what? I bet if in 5 years' time we reread this trilogy, we would feel differently about it because we'd be in a different place.
Maybe. Maybe.
I mean, I'm not going to commit to that right now. Let me just be clear. We just finished a 16-book challenge. I'm going to need a minute. But I'm just
It'll be some time. There are other things that I haven't read yet that I definitely want to get going before I think I would tackle doing
another thing of this size. Yes.
Yeah. Well, the size, I mean, reading 16 books isn't, in terms of going back for a reread, I do have some that I really want to.
My brother jokingly asked me if we were going to take on like something like Wheel of Time next. And I was like, wait. No.
No, not next.
We already have our next one. He meant it as a joke.
I do kind of want to read Wheel of Time because they're doing the show.
But I feel like I kind of know what yours is.
Well, let's see. What do you think mine is?
I think yours is the Ship of Destiny.
Wrong.
Is it?
Wrong. I mean, like yours is.
Okay. I could keep guessing, but I thought Rachel's was Ship of Destiny. I'm wrong. What is it?
It's Fool's Fate. It's my favorite. This is my favorite.
It's because they go to the Out Islands.
The Out Islands, I loved it. I love that they went to a new location. I love all of the stuff with the dragons, Burrick.
Oh!
And everything with the wit and having all of that web. I mean, he was through the Tawny Man trilogy, but I loved Webb being there.
So that's part of why I rated that trilogy so highly.
But I said it was the first one of the Tawny Man was kind of a wash for me, except for the fact that we lose Night Eyes. But that was the whole thing. The issue with why I didn't rank this trilogy higher was because it was just the whole first book was foreshadowing Night Eyes dying. So it was just me waiting that it was going to happen. And she gives him the most beautiful, beautiful send-off. It's not that it was just knowing that it was coming, like kind of overshadowed my enjoyment. But the fact of the matter is that he's already gone in this one, and there's less mourning happening. But then but all of the things with the dragons, all of the dream skilling with Nettle and poking at Tintaglia, like there were so many
lot of complexity in that book.
Things in here. And then the Fool's death, and when he finally lets those barriers down. I know you have a lot of hang-ups now with the Fool, but so many beautiful things happen between Fitz and the Fool in this one. In the end, to just accept that this person is a part of you and it's okay, and what love really can be. And so this was solid. This was my favorite.
Okay.
I know it doesn't, like you would think it
would,
but it's not. It's not.
Well, do you want, okay.
All right.
Do you want to guess which one was mine?
So is it the first one in the Tawny Man?
It was.
I win! All right, so
I know, but I love this. Even as you were talking, I was like, dang, maybe it's the third one in the Tawny Man trilogy. But I'm going to stick to my original choice. Yeah. I'm going to stick to my original choice. Because honestly, at this point, this was book 7 in the series. It was just right for me in that moment.
To get back into Fitz.
Yeah, to get back into Fitz. It was a self-encapsulated story. Like, I was here for it. Because a lot of the stuff from the life ship was kind of left unresolved. The Farseer stuff had been unresolved. And so here I am getting conclusions, getting answers. It was just a good old adventure quest tale. And it was all solved in one book. And for me at that moment, it was just right. And you're right. The foreshadowing with Night Eyes. But I think the Night Eyes.
Oh, the conclusion
was like it was my favorite of all of the characters that she had to write death scenes for. Night Eyes is my favorite. And because it was just so heartbreakingly beautiful. It was just so beautiful. And I loved it. And I feel like it's a real turning point for the Witted, which is going to eventually lead to Fitz being able to come out in the open like way, way, way down the line. But like this is a big turning point book to me. So this was my favorite to read. Okay.
All right.
Favorite character to read. I feel like I already know yours. I think you
favorite character?
Yeah, the one that you enjoyed reading. Okay, obviously, first of all, we're going to take Fitz and we're going to take the Fool off the table. Obviously, the Fitz and the Fool are obviously those are our favorite. I mean, just but like the character that you enjoyed reading them.
Oh, okay.
I think you're gonna.
I don't know if it'll be the same as.
I don't think it'll be the same, but I think you're gonna be surprised by mine. Alice.
Really? Now you did you you felt a kinship with her. I can see that for you. I'm not that surprised. I take back my surprise. I'm not that surprised.
I found
You liked
I
Liz.
did. I really liked her because that just constant having to reevaluate expectation reality. It just really spoke to me in that moment. It could be a lot of things. Could have been the school year we had. Could have been. I don't know. I just found her very compelling.
Malta.
Tell me why, please.
Malta just showed a lot of growth.
If there was a human version of the dragons, it would have been Malta.
Malta has the strongest sense of self-preservation of all the characters. You have to admire someone who's going to survive no matter what. That girl was going to make it one way or another. And you gotta admire that. And I have to say, Live Ship, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of characters in Live Ship. But I probably most look forward to chapters where she was doing something, because you love to hate her in the beginning, but watching her grow,
She had a rough start.
was just really, just fascinating. I just found her to be a really interesting character to read, one that I look forward to seeing what was happening. And so when I got to see her again, the end of the Dragon Keepers, I love seeing her again, and then watch more struggle, more pain, more hardship that she goes through. And then she always, she survives, and she's just a character that I have a lot of, I will root for Malta. Night Eyes.
Favorite animal character that was written that is not Night Eyes?
It's the cat for you.
You know it is. It's Fennel. It's Fennel the cat.
Fennel the cat for you.
It's Fennel the cat for me.
Ooh, maybe Motley the crow.
Ooh.
Motley was pretty cool.
My runner-up would be the weasel.
You know who else really liked though? I really liked, was it Fleeter? That horse.
Oh, the horse.
That tribe that wanted to bond
Fleeter.
with Fitz. And he really just didn't treat her very well. But a lot of it was because he wasn't going to bond. But I did like that horse. I liked those scenes. And I could feel it, the regret that Fitz had.
I take back my number 2. My number 2 would be Nosy. The dog from the first one, Farseers.
Oh,
I might take Nosy. Might take Fennel.
Oh,
That's
but you
tough.
love
I
the
did
cat.
love Fennel.
You really
I just
did.
love the way she wrote cats as these like.
The animals are really great. The weasel.
This is, I think, it's her attention to detail, because even the different animal species are treated differently, and the animals are treated as individual personalities and characters just as much as the people are, and I love that. I love it.
It was really good.
Okay.
Favorite side character?
Favorite side character? Lacey.
Lacey's a good one.
Yeah.
I love Patience though. Patience
Yeah.
is up there for me. Side character. It's probably Patience or Perseverance, just because Perseverance was so good.
Perseverance was so good. I loved how
So
I
good.
loved how Lacey was always the go between Patience. She's like the Patience interpreter. She'd go like,
I take them as like a duo, because they're always
Yeah,
together.
that's true.
Patience and I love Patience. though.
Perseverance is such a good one too. And Revel. I really enjoyed
Oh,
Revel.
God, his
Revel was such a strong, independent character, but he was also very good at being what the people at Withywood's needed. Like, the way he behaved with Molly while she was pregnant is what she needed. The way he treated Bee, he was very good at reading what the individual people needed from him, and excellent at his job and being his own independent person. I really liked Revel.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for going on the journey with us through all 16 Realm of the Elderling books. Please like and subscribe, and write in the comments what your favorite book out of the entire 16 was. Your least and favorite characters.
And whose ranking do you agree with?
Yes,
Rachel's.
there we go.
Let us know in the comments.
Join us next week when we're going to go over some of our palette cleansers after going on a 16-book joyride and sad ride and all the feels ride, I guess.
We just need an emotional break.
We do. So we're going to be covering a couple of the palette cleansers we chose to read before we start our next project. And feel free to recommend any palette cleansers that you might have picked up after reading all of these books yourselves. So we'll catch you next week.
Bye.
Catch us.
dishes on the flip side. Is that what you're
I
gonna
was
say?
about to say that.
Okay. I will find a way to put that in somewhere.